Hello and welcome to everybody on Cloud Fitness. So today's video is in continuation to my Azure Synapse Analytics Play series, and today's video is part 9 in that. So as you all know that Synapse is basically a combination of your formal SQL data warehouse, which is also actually called now as dedicated SQL pool, plus your big data analytics, right? And today we are going to discuss about the architecture of the dedicated SQL pool in Synapse. So Synapse basically has a kind of scale out architecture when it comes to your dedicated SQL pool, which basically means that the computational processing of your data is in a distributed form. It is also called as parallel processing. So let's go ahead and check out the architecture. So the very first thing to note here is that your storage and compute both are very different in Synapse SQL. So that is why you are actually charged separately. For both storage, you are charged differently, and for the processing, you are charged differently. So both your compute and storage, they are completely different. As you can see here, we basically have control node at the top, and then we have parallel processing engine, and then we have compute nodes, and then we have your Azure storage. Actually, your compute node stores your data inside Azure storage, and that is the reason we have the last layer as Azure storage in this particular diagram. This is actually also called as a node based architecture. So what happens is whenever you connect your application or whenever you write T-SQL, if you have been watching my previous videos, we have used T-SQL in the Synapse SQL pool to fetch the data. So what happens is it goes to the control node, and control node hosts this parallel processing engine. It kind of optimizes your query. So let's say you have written select star from a table that optimizes your query and distribute it for the parallel processing to the compute nodes, and these compute nodes in turn stores the data inside your Azure storage. These compute nodes only, they run your or they process your queries in parallel. And what you see here as DMS, it is basically your data movement service. So sometimes your query might require data movement between the compute nodes. So it is facilitated by this, system level service, which is called your data movement service. Now, since your compute and storage both are basically decoupled, both are in decoupled state, you actually have a lot of benefits through this architecture. So let's say that you have your SQL pool, and if you have been following the videos, we have created a SQL pool. So in case, let's say we are in our off hours, in that case we can go ahead and we can pause our SQL pool and we can save our cost for the SQL pools, right? In that particular time period, we are only paying for the data storage and not for the compute, right, in our off hours. So there is an option. Whenever you'll go and you'll create a SQL pool, you will always have an option to pause the SQL pool as well. And similarly, you can scale the compute nodes as well. So you have a, like, it doesn't matter how much storage you want, but you have an option to scale your compute as well. So let's move ahead now. Now this is the same thing which I explained to you about control node. So control node has the it actually hosts your massively parallel processing engine, which optimizes your query, and it basically coordinates to run parallel queries on each of the compute nodes where your actual data resides. So whenever you submit your T-SQL query, control nodes actually transforms it, optimizes it into set of queries which run in parallel in your compute nodes. So let's go ahead and see what we have next. Now we have compute node. So compute node is basically your computational power. So the number of compute nodes, they basically range from 1 to 60, And I will talk more about in detail regarding the data distribution inside the compute nodes. We have different types of distributions available. We'll talk about that in the coming slide. So when you talk about compute nodes, you are trying to do the parallel processing over here, and you pay for the compute node that your data utilizes while computing. So let's go ahead, and we have the data moment service. And when I talk about the data moment service, it is nothing, it just coordinates the data moment between your compute nodes, and it ensures that the right data gets into the right location. Now, for your Azure storage, basically for storage, definitely we are using the Azure storage. Now, it is separate, as I have already mentioned, compute is separate from the storage. But the key here is that for optimizing your data inside the storage, the data inside your tables is stored in a particular form, which is called your sharding, right? Your data is sharded by different distribution methods. So when I talk about different distribution methods, you have your hash partitioning, you have your round robin, you have your replicate table. Now we have these three ways in which the data is stored inside the tables, or the data is distributed inside the tables, or the rows are distributed inside the tables, and we are going to discuss each in detail in my upcoming videos. I'll be discussing each in details, but for now I will give a overview of what all these three sharding distributions are, and what are their basics basically. So basically what happens is whenever your Synapse SQL runs a query, let's say I have fired a query, like let's say select star from a table, then that particular work will actually be divided into 60 subqueries or 60 smaller queries that will run in parallel. So each of these 60 smaller queries, these will run on one of the distributions. So that may be your hash distribution, that may be your round robin, or that may be your replicate table. So let's go ahead and see what distributions we have. What do we mean by your hash distribution? What are hash distributed tables? So let's discuss that in an overview right now, and I'll definitely make a video in detail where I will actually show you how we create hash distributed tables using your Synapse SQL. So basically, whenever you create a hash distributed table, you assign one column, which is usually designated as a distribution column. That distribution column you need to choose based on the various parameters, such as how your data is skewed on that particular column and what kind of queries you are going to perform. So based on that, basically you are going to choose a distribution column, and using that distribution column, hash function basically assigns each row to a distribution. So basically, what will happen is all your identical values that will always hash to same distribution, and that is the reason that in the background, your Azure SQL Analytics would know that where your data is located, and that is one of the reason that hash distribution is usually used for a table where you have lots of data, maybe greater than 2 GB of data, and it will deliver you a very high query performance whenever you are doing joins, whenever you're doing aggregations on large table, because your SQL Analytics already know where your data is distributed, because you have distributed your data using hash function, which in turn uses distribution column which you define to hash your values to a particular distribution. So whenever you have a large table or a very large fact table, more than 2 GB of data typically, then you should always go for, hash distributed tables. They will give you a very good join and aggregation performance optimization basically. So we will definitely go and discuss more in detail. We'll create a hash distribution table. Maybe in my next video, I'm going to show you how we can create hash distributed table and how it works. Now coming on to the round robin distributed tables. So round robin distribution basically it distributes your data randomly across all distributions. So there is no particular way in which your data is distributed, and typically it might end up that your data is skewed. You have lots of data in one distribution than the other. So your data might be skewed, but it is a very good use case when you are trying to load a staging table. When you are trying to load the data, round robin is very fast. But when you are trying to query the data, it is definitely not fast, because SQL Analytics, they don't that doesn't know where your data is present, and it might be like if your data is skewed, you have more data in one distribution, so that will require the data movement as well, right? So that data movement might actually slow down your query processing. So the round robin typical use cases, like whenever you are trying to load the data into a table, into a staging table, in that case round robin works very well. Otherwise you should always go for your hash distributed table. And another use case where you can go for round robin is, like, let's say you are trying to join and you don't have a joining key. You don't have a joining key, or it is just like when you are just starting. Let's say you have just started your Azure Synapse. In that case, the easiest way to understand thing is going through the round robin distributed tables. And similarly, like, let's say you don't have a distributed column. So when I talked about the hash distribution, you are supposed to give a distributed column, right, based on which hash is being done. So in case you don't have a typical, a very good column to choose for distributed as a distributed column, in that case as well you can go for round robin distribution. Now, since actually I'm talking about your distributed column, let me give you some more info on like how we can choose our distribution column. So let's say you have you chose a distributed column which has data skewness. So when I say data skewness, so maybe in your table you have a column named as X which has 60 rows of 1 and 2 rows of 2. So in that case, if you choose X as your column, so you basically end up having 60 rows in one distribution and just 2 rows in another distribution, so which will actually lead to a data skewness, right? So you don't have to choose that type of a column. And similarly, like, you should not go for a date column. So when I say date column, what might happen is, so for a particular date, your all the data is in one distribution. Now if you as a user, you are trying to query your data based on a particular date, then only one distribution will end up working, right? Then the whole concept of this parallel processing, you won't be able to leverage that. So these things you have to keep in mind. Similarly, you should not have too many nulls for the column which you select. So let's say you selected one column Y and it has lots of null values. So in that case, all the nulls will go to one particular distribution, right? So you don't want to do that. So you have to choose your distribution column wisely, and I'll talk more about in detail when on this as well, when I'll discuss on hash distribution, round robin, and the last one as well. So let's go ahead and check the replicated tables. So this replicated tables, I feel that it is kind of same as the broadcast join, conceptually. So it is basically used for the smaller set of tables. What happens is, whenever you have a small table, basically that table is replicated over each and every compute node. So once the table is replicated over each compute nodes, and if you're trying to join or trying to aggregate, what happens is there will be no data movement, right? Because there is already a copy of your table on each compute node. So without data movement, if you are easily able to process your queries, then obviously you will have a faster query performance. So that is what is called replicated tables. However, it is not good for the large tables at all. So this can only work when you have very small tables, similar to the broadcast join. When you talk about Spark, you basically you have a small table which you broadcast over each and every executor, right? In the similar way, you have a table over here and you just broadcast it over each and every compute node. and typically only used for smaller table, not at all suggested for the bigger tables, because definitely it will require more storage, and then you'll have your storage cost coming into picture, and that is not what we want. So this was all about replicated tables, and this is what I wanted to discuss today. Do let me know in the comment section if you did not understand anything from what I told today. I'll try to answer all of your queries, and if I can take up any topic which you suggest, I'll definitely take it up in my upcoming sessions. Thank you so much for being till here, and do remember to like, subscribe, and share.